We will start in a few minutes. You know, the President of the European Parliament deceased 2 days ago. So I suggest that we have 1 minute silence. So please stand up for the death of the President of the European Parliament that died 2 days ago. Thanks a lot.
Bonjour.
Hello, everybody. After what the COEUR said, the first roundtable will be about the societal role of the companies, the corporate companies. It's a subject that is an actual subject. I just want to remember you that this responsible social errors in French as CSR, the corporate and social responsibility of companies, has been defined as the responsibility of the enterprises towards the effects that they exercise on society, and in a broader view, the integration by the companies about the impact of their activity, the decisions they make on the society, on the environment. We traduced in transparent development, which is contributed to the sustainable environment and society. It appeared in the 60s in American literature and the corporates, and it is based traditionally on the idea that the responsibility of the companies goes beyond the strictly judicial responsibility, that it concerns as well the community of which the company is a part, so with the consumers, with the whole chain of deliveries. So originally, as the CSR was volunteer decision, there was no binding for the companies, it was for the common good, soft obligation, so to speak, with the application of certain of directives. Today, as we will mention it later, there are more norms, more binding resolution decision, as well as national and international and European level, with judicial decisions for big companies. I don't want to make the old inventor. You have reporting to make, you have law Cornell 1, 2, you have obligation in terms of extra financial or non-financial information by companies, reporting by company, corruption, the regulations, care, due care, responsibility, as you have the so what called the law Pacte law in France, which has changed the law of companies. The companies must take into consideration now in their social interests the social challenges, environmental challenges, so that each of the worker takes part of it. There's more transparency as well, remuneration is concerned. Investment is a subject as well. Should be more green, more responsible. With the law of May 2017, responsibility of the shareholders, the classification of the activities according to their sustainability. So you have a CSR that is really influences the way company plays. So the role of the lawyer in this framework, two roles main. It could be a counselor. This is what often, and he can be an actor as well. It's often forgotten. So the counselor, this role as a counselor, is here to intervene at the side of his client, to implement his obligations, which can be different from one country to another, to take it into account in the national context, international context. So the lawyer can bring his expertise, especially social law, the law of societies, of companies. He can be, so to speak, the conductor of such a project. So I speak now as CD. The Conseil National du Barreau is to consider the role of the lawyer in this process as counselor, to say that it is limited. Limited, I mean by that the company will call the counselor when there are judicial pursuits, procedures against him. So he's actually not very present right at the beginning in the preventive phase, actually. And you have another aspect, which is the actor. Lawyer is an actor. That he is taking part. It was ignored for a lot of time, ignored by our lawyers' offices. They did intervene in companies. And the CSR is a preoccupation which is growing within the profession. 2017, le Conseil National du Barreau has established a Charter of Social Responsibility in the offices to put some directives, to the fact to take into account environmental aspect, relation with the clients, functioning of the cabinet, with subjects such as parity, diversity, transparency. And you have just 17th of May 2021, just as of the Avocat of the lawyers adopted directive about climatic change and zero emission, so the CO2 emissions, before 2050. This will be completed by other aspects of CSR in our lawyers' offices. It is a stakeholder for the other colleagues. So this is the framework in which the CSR is operating. So I would like now to give the floor to Pascal Durand, Eurodéputé, lawyer at the Paris Bar. Thank you for your invitation. It's a very big pleasure for me to come and meet colleagues, to speak about European questions. I say to President, I said it in Brussels already, thanks to the bar, generally speaking, the French bar, to talk about European question, like right at the beginning of the implementation in France. So today, I'm here to work on the subject because I was nominated rapporteur, European rapporteur, on the non-financial reporting. They call it CSRD, they call it English. CSRD was not chic enough, so then I call it CSRD, because there's the word durability, sustainability that has been added to it, in English, of course. Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, so it's called actually. And as you said it before, with the Commissioner Reinders, it's just try to understand what the role will be of the role of the company in the modern world in the 21st century. For the elder of us, when we studied law, I do it so just briefly. The company was here to share the benefits and the losses. I am here to hire people. The economy is turning. I pay my wage earners. I have relations with customers, and that's about all. We're just to share benefits and losses. And we were more or less happy about it. We learned it's a sort of contract with obligation, and each worked in its domain. So the lawyers had a real function about the constitution of the companies, the way they're functioning. This, I said, was before. This was before. Now we still have this little state of mind, but in the 21st century we realize a lot of things. One of the things we realize is that we cannot wait everything from the state. What the state has to define the rules that are applied and everything is okay. The rules were good or not, according to that. But now we understand that in society that's operating at a world level. In this world, each has its part and capacity to act. We understand that when the state takes big resolutions, as for instance, we have to reduce 33% of that and that, less pollution in cities, less traffic in cities. Now we understand. It's not enough to have just a declaration or a text to do it, even coming from the leaders, in order it to work. No, there is another reality, objective reality, is that if you want to obtain the respect of the Agreement of Paris, everybody has to act. Everybody. Then I mean the companies as well. Here we speak from the economical level. The companies have to take their share. So the vision that EUR has to do about the society, we see it in the Law Pact. The Law Pact is a French law. Very good law. Good aspects in it. You speak about the Law Pact when Great Britain still was in Europe. Okay, I don't even talk about that. But all those that speak in English logic, some countries don't have the written laws as we have. We have, you know, our type of law. Though for them it's a strange language we speak to them. Huh? So how can law evolve? The law in 27 independent countries to have a shared vision. So this cannot come from the society as a contract. It has to come from the company as an actor. And it is an actor in the world on different subjects in its own schema. Social law, of course, with the wage earners, but it is an actor as well when it produces and imports. If I import products that are made by children or by forced labor or deforestation, illegal, according to international law or local law, and I use these products, put them on the market within the European Union, then I have a responsibility. And I, as a law person, I have a double vision on that. The vision of the responsibility of the company that doesn't respect international norms and the rules, because we can consider that you have children can work in some country where there is no social regulation against it. So they will say, where is the problem? We are allowed to do it. They have to work. If they don't work, they die of hunger. So, question, our rules, our principles, should they be exported? Should they be extended everywhere? Are they the one that will direct the types of relation we have with other countries? Second question, if I, European company, I respect the rules. If I say, okay, I don't want to have children to work. I will not import products linked to deforestation. If I, as a company, I respect these rules, is it logic and normal in an interior market that I'm concurrence in competition with other companies that are not respecting these rules? So I will be in a schizophrenia state of mind. What will I do? I choose not to have children work, but I will lose my markets and my profitability, my capacity to sell my products at a reasonable price in the market. Or I sit on my principle, because it's the principle of reality, and import, like everybody does, products made by children. So the question is, head of of a company should never have to ask these type of questions. It is not in a judiciary way. The law simply, it would say, each one can do what he wants, and then it's very easy to have made something in third countries, products that are not made here anymore because the laws are different in these other third countries. So these laws, so just to make you understand the logic of these texts, we want to make sure that the interior European market, which is the first market in the world, we are the first actually economic market in the world, Europe, about 350 million citizens, have rules that are the same for everybody in Europe. So first necessity, have rules applicable in the 27 countries. We don't want to have this aberration. I want a more integrated Europe. For us, it is an evidence that if I say the law is not the same in Lyon, Marseille, Clermont-Ferrand, no, well, it's not possible to work as a lawyer. We need a certain logic. We need to have the same rules within the 27 countries. And it is an absolute necessity now because the consumer asks for it, because many companies ask for it, for the younger people entering in the working market are asking for it as well. And they may take into account the consequences, not only of what the company is suffering from, the cost of raw materials, but what we create and what we call the double materiality. That means our own action on the outside world. So the report, non-financial reporting, has the vocation. Don't be naive, it will take time. It will not be all done of a sudden. It will have within the company the same as the financial reporting, with the same certification, same seriousness, and we will be able to know all stakeholders, ONG and so on, and auditors and investors will have access to it. Tomorrow we will have a problem with the reputation of the company, have access to the market. There was a conference, MIS, shortly, and it was one of the questions. It was very strange, funny. The financial investors are actually asking norms and rules because are fed up with the fact that not everybody has the same rules. You have 1,700 types of reports on the non-financial information. Those that try to say the truth, those that say nothing at all, and those that say only the part of truth and hide the rest. So it's not possible. If tomorrow, and everybody declares what he wants, and the provisions are not checked and so on, it's not possible. So the work we try to do, and the job we try to do, we try to have norms, and as lawyers, written law, understand what I mean? Norm clear, non-arbitrary, and acceptable by everybody, shared by everybody, and these are those that we want to have, that we want to implement in the financial reporting. Thank you for your very engaged words. I suggest that we follow with the presentation of Marion. I think it is the Marion COUFFIGNAL. She is lawyer president of the CNB Law and Business Commission, Director Legal and Compliance Director.
Thank you, Laurent. Good afternoon to all. Mr. Member of European Parliament, about application of tax in matter of corporate social responsibility, because of the importance of for all of us of this topic, makes it so that it becomes a competitivity issue in legal issues in itself, and it's a major stake for the profession of lawyer to try to comprehend, to try to capture the complexity of this issue. The first one, of course, is a market issue. It is necessary that collectively we look at the elaboration of standards, be it state standards or whatever, the interest of us to bring the law to the higher level of institutions, but also within companies where standards are more and more important. And we have to work really on this to comprehend and to integrate the services and that go with this, and to provide services to our client companies whenever they need it, and not just at litigation time. We have to be present within our clients for a number of issues, and we have to integrate in our service offers to those clients the situation all along the company life, the elaboration of this corporate social responsibility plan. We have to really accompany our clients on this. And it enables us also to position ourselves as a key actor in the civil society. The CSR is, of course, tends to be virtuous, intends to be virtuous, and of course, the profession of lawyer has to be a partner in this, showing that it works alongside with the companies and to really try to help them improve on social and environmental issues. And as lawyers, we are also submitted to the CSR rules and the Charter for the Social Responsibility for Lawyers that has been elaborated by the CNB. It is going to be accessible online with a self-diagnosis tool for your law firms. You will be able to use that tool to find out where you are in this respect, and with a sort of a logo that could be used by the law firms that satisfy a number of criteria in matters of CSR. Thank you very much. And to extend on this and the position of Tiffany, who is the vice chairman of the Bar of Strasbourg, and on this duty of care, the role of the lawyer. And you were saying, Mr. Member of Parliament, the role of lawyer firms in all projects that you bring forward. Thank you very much. Yes, to pick up on what Marion COUFFIGNAL was saying, I think it's very important that the profession positions itself in relation to CSR and these issues. Just to give you an example, a few weeks ago, I was at an event in auditors, and they are seizing this opportunity in their audit missions. And they are part of the first contact persons for the companies, and they are inclined to handle these issues for the companies. But I think we as lawyers have a different angle of attack, have specific skills, because beyond the reporting, beyond the purely financial aspects, there are a number of issues. The legal risks, for example, that a company is submitted to if it's going to be sued for violation of human rights by its company or by subsidiaries or subcontractors. These are issues that we can address much better and in a much easier way than other professionals. So I think we have a position to defend here. We have a role to play, a specific one on that. And also perhaps try to innovate in terms of training that we can propose to our colleagues on these transverse issues. Indeed, European legislation is important in terms of competition between companies because right now we have sometimes even national legislations that are very different from one aspect to the next. You have British courts of Dutch courts that have very different positions than the ones of French courts. And I think that a European legislation is going to be welcome, in particular for the duty of care, because if I recall quickly, the French legislation, this duty of care that was adopted in 2017 with the risk mapping for companies over 5,000 or 10,000 employees if they have foreign subsidiaries. I think there's a shortfall because there's no sanction mechanism here besides the possibility to have the company produce this risk mapping or commit its responsibility. There's no real sanction, and I think that the European directive is much more elaborate on that. The Constitutional Council in France has censored this law, and whereby the initial aim was lost. So we welcome this European initiative because in matters of CSR, it's much more elaborate. Yes, I had a question, but don't hesitate in answering bluntly as you can. You meet lots of people in matters of CSR regulation. What is the perception you have of lawyers and law firms on their contribution to this market? Because it's a market in itself where we can provide services to companies. How do you perceive us? What are your expectations? What do you think we are not up to the task and where we're good? Okay, very freely, without, well, you know me. When I have to say something, I say it out and clear and loud, calmly, and as a friend, of course, of your profession. No, I am. And last time I had to address French colleagues, I got a little bit angry because you cannot criticize constantly the monopoly of the Big Four and a number of large audit firms have on the market. So you cannot complain constantly and not try to go on the field and compete with them. So you can't have both ways. Otherwise, it's the usual posture of those who criticize all the time and do nothing. And that's perhaps very French in a way. You know, you criticize, you analyze a position, but how do you change it? You don't bother. So I've been observing for years, and I'm saying for years, it's been 7 years or maybe more, that I'm a European MP, but I've been hearing France criticizing the loss of the strength of the written law or civil code, these obligations, except they never come to Brussels. Okay, I'm sorry, the DBF is doing a remarkable job, and the DBF is really here to stand for it. And you do the work, and you try to bring the issues forward. But I'm saying you try to do that, because when I see the lobbying that the large firms do in Brussels, okay, they have more resources, but perhaps we could try with our own weapons, our own resources, maybe not always face-to-face. We could try to organize conferences. We could organize symposium, the hard law against the soft law. I've been gobbling soft law for years, and this free organization and free things, it makes no sense when you have a court before you that applies texts and not soft law considerations. So if we want in France or in other countries, if we want to have a real efficient application of the law, it has to be written law. It has to be the same for all. And those are our principles. And we have to defend those principles because a number of people, and it's not a criticism, the British organizations have shown that they can work in a democratic way. And I'm not criticizing their own way, but I'm saying that a French judge cannot apply common law. They don't know how to do it. And our job is to make it so that the principles, the big principles coming out of the common law and our own codes, we can merge that into European texts that can be applied throughout the territory. Otherwise, we have cherry picking on all topics. We have that in fiscal matters, and we have it in fiscal matters. We could have it in social matters tomorrow, but maybe on the environment tomorrow. And we won't make it. If I don't have European standard, European rules, we will not prevail with the expression, the application of the law. And so it will be only the finance will be important. And if you look at extra financial information and reporting, what's important is how much I take as a provision in my accounts, in my statutory account, in case there is an attack on the brand, the fact that you have Uyghurs working in forced labor camps in China. If my vision is purely financial, we'll have lost. It's already lost. Because, okay, yes, you can provision that much money. You're going to lose 15% of the market. The brand is going to be suffering. But that's not the issue. That's the financial issue. But the issue for the lawyers is different. The issue for lawyers, as we are, is did we get the necessary resources in motion to do what we want? And only us lawyers and legal practitioners can do that. Look at the supply chain, the subcontracting chain. What is the responsibility of subcontractor in Bangladesh? Are they insured? Do they have the right coverage? You know that. It's your day-to-day work, maybe, but it should be our day-to-day work in France, and we have to be able to work on that, including on companies importing goods from other countries. Now, I'm saying this, I'm a little sad, frankly. I don't find any other word, sadness. I can see that we are not the actors of this debate. And it's not just a question of English. Yes, the English is the language. Or we can organize things with interpretation, with translation, and lots of French lawyers can speak English, please, as good as Italians or Spaniards, let's say. But yes, we can do it. We could do it. And I'd like the French bar really to seize this opportunity. The directive is not yet there, okay? On the duty of care, we're waiting for it. We're not the co-legislator here. You have been mentioning this project of duty of care directive. We've done it with the Parliament because the Commission has the, we're the only Parliament in the world to not have the initiative of the law, as you know. We wait for the Commission to do it. But you shouldn't be waiting for that. The text's already there, you know? In the starting blocks, we have proposals. We know what we want. So let's start to work on it. Let's embrace it. It shouldn't be only the tax auditors and financial auditors and the big fours that grab the whole analysis of this extra financial. It's an extra financial. So let's not leave it in the hands of the finance people. Let me finish on this. I don't want to be accused of something wrong. I'm not opposing the profession of lawyer to the profession of the big four, the Americans. I've been a lawyer, and we work every day with finance people, tax auditors, certified accountants. I don't have an issue with that. But I'm fed up being stepped upon and to see my skills being despised, being scorned at. I know to read a contract. I can read a contract much better than a financial analyst. They don't like it when I say that, but it's true. I can read financial statements, but not as good as they can. But let's be proud enough to say that we can have a stance on this. We can grab our market share on this. It's not a fight. It's being complementary. So let's organize this. Let's organize conferences. Let's have texts be prepared, draft things, and let's fight for it. Let's fight those who have truths that are not our own truth. It's not being conflictual. It's not to bring what we are, our history, forward. Otherwise, just like with the IFRS rules, if Europe is not able to define its own rules, well, it's going to come from over the pond, over the Atlantic, or from Asia, China, the US, and they will come in with their own standards. Okay, that's what's to be applied as of now, and you will have to respect that. And during the IFRS, and then we will have to train as we did with the IFRS. No. Let's try to go the other way around. Let's define our own standards. Let's take the market and let's discuss. We don't want a Europe fortress. We want to discuss, but at arm's length. We're our own standards. I could go to the score agencies, to the notation agencies. If we want to have the same rigor as for tax auditors and certified accountants, let's not give scores. Let's not know. You have to have the right stuff here. And I'd like the lawyers to be trained on that and be able to certify. They are independent. They have the skills so that tomorrow you can certify things, the extra financial statements, even though it has to be joined with financial statements. It's not a criticism. But it's a little bit of a criticism. I don't see the French enough in Brussels or in Strasbourg. Let's be more present with our partners, with the Germans. They have the same rights. They have the same issues. The Italians, they have the same issues. So let's try to move forward together. Well, that was blunt enough. I pick up on this. Indeed, I think we have to capture this market. But the question is certification. Is that going to be a certification that will be delivered by the European Union? Is that going to be a European agency? Oh, sorry about this, but tax auditors, certified accountants, they're already working on that. Huh? But I'm working on my report, but I've asked that to have 2 co-certifiers so that we don't ask, a tax auditor doesn't have to be the accountant of a company. I've asked the same, that the extra financial it shouldn't be the same as the financial, otherwise it won't work. I cannot work on the treaties, so I want an authority that will supervise national authorities for certification. And what I want and what I will defend is the job of certifier, which is why I mentioned the profession of lawyer requires the same set of skills as of the tax auditor, so that we have an open market and it's not just the reproduction of the financial market. But I need help. I need help on that, because I can tell you that the certified accountants have read my text. I had some cabinets at the ministry level called me, okay, because it's coming up. So I'm very happy to be here with you, because I'm telling you, read my draft. It's not to sell it, but read my draft and look at how the profession could get its position in these certifications if they come up. Well, thank you for pushing us like way. We are going to take perhaps a few questions from the audience to conclude this first session. Microphone, please. Okay. Let me give you a European response to this. I think the question was the European lawyer status. If we want to move forward, we have to have an openness towards a certification by professions that are not certified in terms of accounting certification. Yes, we could imagine the profession of a European lawyer, but that's not going to be short-term. Okay, this is really an emergency situation. If the text is adopted in 3-4 months, it'll come in France 2 years later, but it will be the law. Okay, so I can hear what you say. We should work on that, a European lawyer, but we won't have that tomorrow. But that text is planned for March. March, it's tomorrow. Microphone, please. Training, independence. We have to discuss with the Ministry of Justice, with the Ministry of Economy in France. In France, that's where it's going to take place. The accountants get organized at this level. They talk directly with the minister, with the director of cabinet. But the lawyers in France, they talk with the Ministry of Justice on legal matters. Very important. But that's not the agenda here. Okay, I think we have a second roundtable at 15:30. Thank you very much.